Good evening, NoFos, and welcome to November Foxtrot. I'm joined this week by Andy Bob. Andy, say hello.
Evening, you all right?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Lance can't join us this week. He's unfortunately been taken ill. So hearts and minds going out to Lance, sort of wish him better. He should be back next week, so it's all good. Hi, Fresh Meat, Chris, Les, all your girls, he says. A lot of love for you, Andy, from Les going on.
I know. Les was depends how much he tips.
Hi, Paul, Rage, Danny. Thanks for the kill rag, Andy. I can post it back if you want.
No, it's fine. Have that as a memento.
So we are a lot. Andy and I were both at the Octo event at Gunman Battle Lakes this last weekend. It was Operation Vanquish 2. It was an awesome event. Andy and I were both on the JTF, getting absolutely hounded by everyone else because there was a team of 8 versus like 20, 26, 28 other people.
Yeah, that was hard. That was hard. That was 8 versus 25 plus another 12. It was like, oh, okay.
So it was a resounding success.
Yeah. I don't think I've shot so many people and died so much.
Jade, hi Kieran. Les says, "Show me your pants, Andy."
Oh, I can as well. Look.
There we go. Andy's new trousers
and his crotch.
Hi Phil, over in Australia. Danny, did you shoot him in the face?
No, but
so yeah, so Lance and I had a few little skirmishes, and we'll cover that next week in a little bit more detail. I don't want to kind of give away too much because there's a few little funny stories came out of it. One thing that I will constantly now bring up for life: Lance shot me in the head, which was fine. No worry, there's no problem with that. But he managed to shoot the earpiece out of my ear because the round literally came in and just clocked the earpiece, to the point of I then had the earpiece stuck in my ear because it had shattered the plastic that connected it to the acoustic tube.
Literally shot it and it just
just the acoustic tube went flying off. I'm then stuck with this bit of like rubber stuck in my ear that I couldn't for the life of me get out. So that was fun.
It was funny.
Meanwhile,
from my point of view.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I get quite excited about things, and when I do, my voice just naturally tends to rise in an octave, to the point that everyone there you go, Paul. You went super high pitch when it got stuck in your ear. So yeah, everyone around me is more focused on the pitch of my voice rather than the fact of helping me get this bit of plastic stuck out.
No one wanted to help. No one wanted to help.
Only dogs could hear you. Thanks, Paul. Chris was there as well. Hi, Chris. Paint your face green again. Yep. So I did the full camo paint, which I'm pretty certain might still be there a little bit. So
I've got to admit that when you left, it did look like you'd been punched, like square in the nose, and you just got black eyes.
Oh, it was good. It was a good fun. Are you commenting, Andy, as well?
Yeah, multitasking. It's weird being at this side. I prefer being on there, on the chat, whatever that is.
No, it's all cool. It's all cool. So Andy's on this week. We're going to be talking about Rifleman Roles and support roles. Is there anything else you wanted to cover about Octo before we dive into that? I mean, because it was a pretty fun event.
Really. Yeah, I'd recommend more people come along, join JTF if they can. Have a good crack. I'll be doing the next one. You won't be, will you?
No, I can't make the next one, unfortunately.
No, but I'll be at the next one. So yeah. What's that? Andy 8. What's that?
Chris says, Andy 8, you come to G on the chat. You're a guest on.
Yeah. I can insult myself.
Hi, Andrew Taylor. Cool. Right. Well, we'll jump straight in then. Let's go into these MilSim Roles. So, obviously, Andy, do you want to introduce yourself first? Tell us a little bit more about you.
Andy Bob, real name Andrew Luckett. Not very exciting life, really. My combat career has been 15 years as a World War II reenactor, and then 5 years in Airsoft, and lots of TV and computer games. That's about it, really. That's
What sort of reenactment did you do?
I did World War II 1st Infantry, and I was a BAR gunner from literally the word go. It was an experience. Got to do some things that you wouldn't really normally get to do. Drive a Sherman, half-track assaults, D-Day landings we did on original boats. Yeah, it was things that you'd never get to do again. So I'm glad that I did it, and got some training from some real soldiers as well, like on how to use support weapons and things. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
And what sort of led you into being a support role then? Was it the reenactment stuff or?
No. So the first ever reenactment event that I did, I walked in and I said, I want the biggest gun. Being an idiot. And they lumbered me with the BAR, which is a lump. And ever since then, I've just enjoyed not having to aim ever.
And carrying around the biggest gun.
And carrying around the biggest gun. That was kind of it, really. So yeah, I've just kind of fallen into it now. Like even on battlefield and things like that, I always choose the support gun. Like I don't need to medic people. I just shoot people.
So you obviously you've got your 249 behind you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So that's a A&K M249. It was a Mark 46, but I've converted it to a Mark 46 Mod 1, which is the gun that Sonny Quinn uses on SEAL Team. If anyone's watched that, you'll see the resemblance on my Instagram page to his. I've tried to copy his paint job and things, and I've spent too much money on the internals and the box mag, and that's about it, really. Just spent too much money on it. And some idiot decided to make it weigh the same as a real one as well. So that's always good fun.
I was going to say, we sort of did a little bit of comparison between the MK63 Stoner that I was running, and then your 249, and yours definitely weighs a lot more. And then you obviously run the replica plates as well in your plate carrier.
Yes,
you're just a beast for it, mate.
Yeah. My legs did not feel it on Monday, I tell you.
For punishment.
Yeah. That's the LMG gunner in me. That is. It gets lighter as you fire more, so that's why.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All those really heavy plastic balls.
Yeah. Yeah. It adds up after a while.
Harry's joined us as well. Feel free, anyone that's interested, to go and check out Harry's Instagram and his website and various other things that Harry runs for photos of the Octo8 event, because he did a bang up job.
Cracking photos, some cracking
photos and stuff like that. I mean, he had the full blue press outfit, plate carrier. His absolutely stunning helmet. I really need to replicate that at some point, because it was far better than anything I've ever produced. So did a cracking job. Rach says, is the A&K any good?
Yes. Out the box, it's okay. There's a few changes that you need to make first of all. Hot rubber and spring would be your first things. But yeah, out the box, it's absolutely cracking. You'll get 50 meters out of it with a good rate of fire, around 18 rounds per second, I think it is. Out the box, you can't really complain at that, really. But they are heavy. The A&K and Classic Army are heavy weapons, so you do have to have a good amount of stamina to lug them about, or just lie down a lot. just hide in a bush.
Cool. Harry just said, "Oh, you leave my blue helmet out of it."
Got to admit, it was a tempting blue helmet.
It was nice. There's also a video as well. So I don't know much about the video, but I know Harry at one point had little body cams on both me and Lance. So that might be quite interesting for anybody that's. I don't know what the footage came out like. A lot of it will probably be me dead, because I did a really good job this weekend. So
And you and me chatting.
Yeah, pretty
a
much.
lot of you and me chatting.
Paul said, Harry, you were so convincing we didn't know whether you were playing press and tried to lift you. There was a little sneaky moment at one point where we were like, oh, we don't know. Maybe we should like arrest him and just double check that he's not like spying on the enemy. So yeah
we should.
Anyway, right, let's let's get into these rifleman roles. So what's your interpretation of the word sort of a rifleman role?
Well, I think it's someone that carries a rifle, basically. So, because the roles have changed so much now, right? From my point of view, a rifleman is early 40s or late 40s, early 50s role, whereas now everyone's got like their own specialist role within a unit now. And like a general grunt is like just infantry. I think rifleman now, to me, is more along the lines of your assault section or your movement section. So obviously a lot of things are split into two sections. So you've got your support section and your movement section. And as far as I'm concerned, as the rifle section is the bit that does most of the running around and kicking indoors and making sure that they're there right at the front, ready to go. That's the way I would look at it. Lots of guys with lots of guns and grenades, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it probably tends to be the one role that most people, when they sort of get into MilSim, so if you're not sort of running a specific role, it's sort of you kind of just generically become rifleman.
Yeah. Anyone with an M4.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned grenades there. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Do you think there's like a limit to grenades that a rifleman carries, or is that sort of? I guess you could almost kind of cover grenadier type role within the rifleman. It's kind of that general assault.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
kind of type, isn't it? Really. So.
I think there's probably a written doctrine somewhere of this guy will go out with this many grenades and this smoke grenades. This bloke will go out with a launcher. This bloke will go out with maybe anti-tank or anti-vehicle equipment. This person will go out with something that you can blow a hole in a wall and get inside. Now, there probably are doctrines written around everywhere, which are probably quite easy to find if you wanted to go really into it. But I'm not sure how real life works with airsoft, because it never goes to plan, as you know, full well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just if you're going to go to the effort of kind of, I guess there's two facets to it. If you've got like a team set up and you're kind of replicating these kind of roles, so you've got like a small rifleman section, then you might have kind of a rough idea of fitting sort of certain things within that. I think for the most part, a rifleman, if you look at event rules, that's probably where it comes in more. So there'll be sort of like a rifleman. I know Legion, I think, do this. So they sort of say, your rifleman position, you've got this much rounds of ammunition, and it sort of covers it that way. Really, it's more of a breakdown, less so in terms of your specialist abilities, and more just that's how much ammo you can carry in that position.
Because I think also as well, like the rifle section, like the weekend gone, the rifle section that we were in, we wouldn't have had a mortar to hand,
no,
or anything like that. That would have been another section entirely. So we would be the ones more at the forefront, trying to get to a position, I think, and then not everyone else. But even Octo, they had limited ammo. Like they said, if you're a rifleman, you've got this much. If you're a sniper, you've got this much. If you're running the LMG, you've got this much as well. So I do think a lot of the last couple of MilSims that I've been on, they're starting to do that more and more, I think, to try and limit the gung-ho side of it.
Yeah, because otherwise you end up with just a skirmish, don't you? It's just people running around with shed tons of ammunition, cap magazines and all of that.
Yeah, just sitting there running along doing.
That's firing the gun, by the way. That's not.
Yeah, that's not anything rude. Les, that one was for you.
So
my
what do we think,
PayPal.
what do we sort of think the responsibilities are of a rifleman? Sort of like, with your command role, you're obviously leading the team or whatever like that. You've got your radio up that we've discussed before. Sort of sitting there to kind of liaise the message and stuff. We'll come back to our babes. We'll come back to like the support role in a little bit. I mean, that's a fairly ubiquitous role. So what do you think sort of the responsibilities of a rifleman are?
To push up, definitely. Just to get up close, get into the buildings, secure the objectives a lot, I would say. Like, obviously I'm quite biased because I always steer towards the support role, but I do end up like at some events, like when we're up at Camp Sparta, which is very CQB orientated. There's no point using that at all. So you do end up slipping over to everyone tends to be a rifleman, and you're pushing through buildings quickly, you're clearing it, you're getting what your objective may be, and then getting back to base or radioing it in and stuff. So I think a rifleman role is it's the grunt work of it all. Like they're the most important part of a squad. I think you can quite easily run a game with no sort of sniper or LMG. You have to have riflemen at the end of it. They're the backbone of it all. And I think that they need to. There's so much responsibility on their shoulders. They just got to get there. They've just got to get to that objective, whatever that may be. So if it's either scouting, you can still do that with an M4, or as a rifleman, you don't need to have a sniper or anything or a ghillie suit. I think they're quite a universal tool. They're the multi-tool of the airsoft and military world, I
think. Octo just chimed in. Octo also limits mags in terms of how many BBs they contain to promote the mag changes. Exactly that. Yes, you don't.
That was cracking.
Because I know you've gone to the effort of there's the support role. You were limited to like having 1,000 rounds on you, and I know you were weighing out your BBs.
Yeah, I look like a proper little drug dealer.
I mean, that actually, Octo, thanks for that. The other thing to talk about is the full auto. So Octo and quite a few events sometimes don't, they kind of go, right, we're not having everyone running around a full auto because it gives the LMG role and the support role more of a reason for being there.
Yeah.
So I guess the rifleman, it's almost just like another little facet within that, but you definitely just need those guys. You're pushing up. You're taking the action to the front. You're going to get the objective. You're going to push in. So
yeah, you can't.
Roses, evening, you glorious bastards.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can't do anything without a rifleman, in my opinion. Like even tank regiments, even the RAF, they have riflemen. Do you know what I mean? And they're meant to be in the sky. You need a rifleman no matter what. Like they are literally the backbone of it all, I think.
Yeah.
And some of the players that do like solely rifleman role, I couldn't keep up with them. I couldn't.
No.
With what they do. Which is why I went for that, because I just lie down if I get too tired. I'll stay here and support you. Don't worry.
Do you guys need some more ammo? That's fine. I'll carry
Yeah. I'll just stay here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it is the backbone of. It's also the backbone of skirmishes and things like that. Like you see more people running I'll say rifle, because it could be like AK or anything along the M4 or your primary weapon. It is the backbone of it all, I think, definitely.
Yeah. What do you reckon the challenges of being a rifleman are? I'd probably say the physical activity.
Yeah,
I know I often struggle when people are like, "Yeah, go and pick it up there." Like, oh,
yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah, fitness is definitely up there. As I said, I couldn't keep up with some of the lads that were running around over the weekend. Teddy Bear was off. It was there all the time. Teddy Bear was like halfway up the bloody. I was like, Jesus Christ, hang on a minute.
We need to talk about Teddy Bear because Teddy Bear was a hilarious little story.
Teddy Bear was a little legend.
So we broke down into we were in our little sort of eight-man team. And we came up with the idea that we needed to get a little bit of intel on one of the objectives that we were sort of needing to take. So we sent Oakley off, Oakley Gun, to go and basically get changed into civilian garb. So he went off, and then we were like, "Oh, we're gonna need like a call sign. Can't refer to him as Oakley or whatever over the radio." So someone came up with Teddy Bear, and then it just massively got more elaborate. It's like, it was Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear's reached the picnic. Teddy Bear is at the picnic. How many sauces are at the picnic? There are 3 sauces at the picnic. And for the rest of the weekend, we were just referring to him as Teddy Bear, and I think it's an excellent moniker for him.
That is literally that's going to be his call sign from now on. Yeah. That's it.
I mean, as you say, he was just running around all over the place.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly not a fittest. I'm not going to speak on your behalf, Andy. I know I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not.
But literally, you're heading down, and he'd be like there, and then he's over there, and like it was mad. It was good. It's good. He definitely put the effort in. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. Not like us. I will just get in the back of the truck.
Yeah. We'll see you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Teddy Bear, off you go. We'll meet you there in the truck.
Terry says, "Don't you dare use the word rifleman and RAF in the same sentence." So,
unfortunately, I know one. I know an RAF rifleman, and even he was confused by it all.
Regardless says, "Good afternoon, PMC here." Ooh, PMC. As Chris says, yeah.
Yeah.
The PMC, to be fair, it did look like a cracking team this weekend.
Yeah, they played really well.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was nice going up against a non-organised team that were actually organised. Yeah. Like they did. Oh, we're not organised. Yes, you bloody well are.
Yeah. Paul as well. So you have to share a picture of the truck. It was ace on the Saturday. Yes. So one of the benefits of the JTF was that Bradley, one of the chaps there, was he Bravo? Can't remember his call sign. It was
Alpha. No, it's Alpha 5.
Alpha 5. He brought along a Polaris that he's converted into basically a small tank. So it's got mounted,
like a little mini
Humvee on the top, wasn't it? Yeah, it was wicked.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's got tag rounds and stuff sort of connected to remote triggers and things inside the cab. And it was just wicked. Like just being able to drive around in that was pretty cool. I know that made it for me. That was quite fun. Just sitting there on the back of heading in, just like around. Terry says they guard airports.
Yeah, they do guard airports.
Yeah. Riflemen wear rifle green. So the riflemen and the RAF wear guard airports. There you go.
Yeah. Although this will make you laugh, Terry. My mate, he was literally put on guard duty for a toilet. He was literally that was his job for about 2 weeks. He said, just guarding the toilet. It's like, yeah.
It's character building. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what should we call sort of like the pros and cons of being a rifleman? Let's start with the pros. I think you get in the action quite a bit.
I think you get a more variety of kit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a shotgun.
Your UGLs and things like that.
Yeah, you can have anything underslung. You can add on to it, grenades and stuff. And as you said, you get into it, don't you? Like you're right up there, especially in CQB sites. Like you are literally, as they say, the spear, point of the spear, aren't you? So you're always in the action. Downside is you're always in the action. You're always getting shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I feel that with some of the other roles, it's like you're not necessarily. You might have like more responsibility. So say you're in a command position or a radio op or something like that, where you've actually kind of got people somewhat relying on you a little bit for kind of being within the event organization. And they don't have to be running the event, but you know, you need like a good team leader set up and stuff like that to kind of help coordinate events and kind of keep things moving and keep things interesting. So I guess with a rifleman, there's maybe not that responsibility, and you can kind of I guess it's probably the most fun role in terms of if you just want to turn up to an event and basically go airsofting in whatever context that is. I guess that's probably the one for you.
Yeah. See, Paul's come up with a good point as well, saying it's the inexpensive side of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like you can do it. Literally, just have an M4 and some mags, as long as you've got the right garb to fit in with whatever faction you're doing. All you really need is a rifle. You don't have to spend £600 on bloody mortar rounds. You don't have to spend £600 on pyros and things like that. It's literally, you can go in as long as you fit in, and you've got a weapon. That's it. It don't matter, does it? Really?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just loving all the chat. There's some people having a go at each other about the RAF. Keep it
oh my
simple.
god, what have I started?
Have you started?
Yeah. Oh. See, I told you I was going to be a weird Chinese knockoff clone of Lance. I just fail at everything and fall apart on the first show.
Oh, blimey. Well, we'll keep it moving because we'll jump onto the support role, because I know that's something that you and I have more of a passion in. What are the cons of being a rifleman? Obviously, I know we've spoken about the sort of activity and sort of needing to run around and stuff like that. I don't think there really are. I can't really think of any cons.
There's not really many. Like, obviously, like the con is that I think like you have to be quite active. If you're going to a MilSim and you don't want to be running around a lot, you just want to kind of take your time and like maybe take your time on shots and things, then rifleman isn't the role for you. Personally, I wouldn't have thought.
I guess there's an element of, because you're kind of treated, I say like as a grunt, you know, you are the backbone of the team effectively. I guess there might be an element of you don't really kind of get the same input in terms of like orders and stuff like that. You know, like look, you're obviously not going to have the advantages like the command structure. So if you're just kind of being tasked, go out there, you know, secure that house and hold that for 2 hours. That can be a bit of an advantage, I guess, in terms of, right, well, we're just sitting here because we've been told to for 2 hours. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I guess you have that in any role, really. That's not really sort of specific to that. But so Les has just said, let's start an anti-Bob fan club.
There's already one, but I'm the only member, so pat on the back.
Paulus is going to start the domain Bob.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Lance.
Right, have you got any personal experiences or stories about being a rifleman?
Oh, no, not really, not many.
Fun anecdotes?
I've got one that wasn't airsoft related. It's it was back in my reenactment days. They forgot the ammo for the BAR, so they said, well, you can have a M1 Garand. So I was like, fine. And I was running around with it, and there was a tank track that was full of water, and one of the crowd said, I bet you won't jump in that. I'm running along, and someone, with reenactments, you're told when like you're meant to get hit, so you keep an eye on one person on the German side, and when they fire at you, you have to pretend like you're dead. And I've ran along and I've jumped and I've literally just done this, poof, a big puddle of water. All the crowd were cheering. And then I literally had to lay in that puddle till the end of the show, which was about 15 minutes, freezing my arse off. And then when I got up, I literally got another clap and a round of applause.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's commitment to the role.
Yeah, it was commitment to the role. But yeah, that was a mistake. Just to show off, really. But airsoft related, I haven't really done that much. I've in the 5 years, my second gun was a or riff, as YouTube will probably like me to call it. But the second one was a Crytek LMG, and then my third one was an M249. And that's kind of been it, really. I only really have the TM as if that starts getting too heavy.
Yeah.
Like if it's a real hard slog weekend, then I do tend to swap over on the Sunday because my arms feel like they're going to fall off.
That's fair enough. I mean, for myself, I can't really name any particular stories per se. I mean, there's sort of a lot of events where I've found that I sort of just swap out from the LMG. So, I mean, this last event at Octo, I managed to somehow share the battery connection off the magazine, which obviously then made the LMG somewhat redundant if you can't then run the magazine, which is a bit of a pain. But no, you know, for me, it's just about the LMG life.
Yeah,
I just love that sort of side of things. So I'll tell you what, in which case, let's jump onto that.
Yeah, we'll forget about the Rifleman. Although technically, yeah, yeah, we look after the Rifleman.
With the support role, let's cover the kind of different facets of that. So I would kind of roll the mortar team kind of aspect into a support role.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got your LMGs, and then sometimes like an ammunition store. So I'm kind of thinking more like the battlefield definition of a support role at that point. So you are there to support the other team. So it's not just laying down cover fire. You might be carrying a few extra supplies or whatever like that for the rest of the team. So, you know, you've got your riflemen who are running fairly light. Your support gunner is going to be the one basically like chugging along at the back with all the kit. So sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say you're also there to support. You're there to support the rifleman. So, like last weekend when you and me, we were just literally sent out to make noise, not even shoot anyone. We were literally, because these are so loud, the mortar's loud. We were literally just sent off over the other side of the field just to cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
Just to keep their eye from looking at where the riflemen were going or the assault section were going. So sometimes it is a curse as well because there's only two of you with two LMGs and a mortar, and you end up getting lit up by 20 guys. And
Danny has just said it's always us big guys, but we love it. I must confess, I don't think I've really seen like a little scrawny LMG gunner. Like, they tend to be sort of fairly, I say, big burly blokes. I mean, for example, Brad, it was one of the other support gunners on our team this weekend. He had an absolutely cracking HPA. Was it 249?
Yeah, M249 with a Daytona HPA system in it.
Oh,
fucker.
Like literally, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden, like Brad turns up and he just starts firing. And it's just the sound of like, bang, 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 bang. It's like, oh, Brad's here.
Yeah, that was so funny.
That was absolutely cracking.
Because we were down by that lake, weren't we? All being all quiet, waiting, and then they said open fire, and then all you heard was just Brad just cutting down trees. He sounded like a chainsaw. And I was like, oh, I feel slightly inadequate now.
Yeah. I know one of the organisers came up to me afterwards at Octo. He was like, oh, just kept hearing that gun the whole time for all the comms and stuff like that. It sort of sounded like a war zone. And it literally was like, I don't know what he's got in there to make it so loud and noisy, but it was proper exciting, sort of like warm, fuzzy feeling every time he starts lighting up. So. Sorry. Developed a cough.
Got the vids.
Yeah. Hopefully not. That would be great.
But I got to admit, on the back of the little truck, that was cracking, firing that while driving along. That was good fun. That was quite an experience. But he was only running little tanks.
Yeah, so he basically had it was, connected up, didn't he? And it's
yeah.
I know there was one point the hose fell out, and that scared the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, that was me.
This little snake just like whizzing around the back of the truck. So, have you had much experience with sort of the kind of Polar Star HPA setups for 249s? Because I must profess that it's something that I've considered is with the kind of the ability of the change of the rate of fire and sort of the consistency and stuff like that.
I have used them more than once. I'm not a line and bottle fan. I'll say that now, because I do throw my weapons about quite a bit, and with that, if I'm using it in a CQB role, I drop it. I just run off in with my pistol. So having something that attaches me to that is a bit of a pain in the ass. But I have used them. The Daytona system, once it's set up, is really good. But then again, you're adding even more weight to yourself. So you've got to carry your bottle in your back, in your backpack. Some of the guys run like the full metal cylinders and things like that. And then you've got all your ammo, and theirs weighs the same as mine. And like you felt what that is, what the weight of that is like. So, but then also
what's the weight of yours again?
22.
Yeah.
Not stone, kilogram. But yeah, and then you've got your tanks and everything. To me, it's just you're weighing yourself down when you can pretty much do the same with that. So my AG, I can change the FPS and the rate of fire on it quite easily. The FPS is just a spring guide change, and the FPS, I just changed the rate of fire. I just changed the battery. So it's like this weekend, I was running 11 lipos, and I was getting, what was it? I had a higher rate of fire than what Brad's had. Not as nice sounding, but I had a higher rate of fire than the HPA. But then if I knock it down to a 9.9 or 7.4, it reduces my speed. So that's how I do it. Plus, they're expensive.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Regadis, apologies, mate. Your name is something that I'm not familiar with, so I might butcher this. Regardless, I'm running HPA, AK, and Sniper together. No dramas. I think it was your AK that we had a look at, and it was literally like you pull the trigger with no ease, with no effort at all, and it's just like the BBs were just like flying out. It was amazing. I think it was the Polar Star one. That was pretty sexy.
Yeah. I think the smaller weapons like sniper rifles and like assault weapons like the AK and M4 systems, I would be interested in trying one of them, because I don't think you need as much gas or as much air as you would with an M249. So I think that could be something that would. But I think running it on them, I think having it on a vehicle, you're laughing, but I would say it's definitely more. I'd like to have a go on a HPA sniper. I've never had a go on a HPA sniper. I bet that's really lovely. I bet you can make them silent as anything as well. Also, as well, your sniper can be a support role.
Yeah,
it can support a push. They don't always have to be up front and reconning. They can support a push as well. So they can get roped in or dragged in, kicking and screaming. You're one of us now.
We're not going to cover the sniper too much, though, because that's a separate role in a different episode.
Yeah, you can sort off for now, snipers. Bane of my life.
The only reason I considered the whole HPA on the 249s, because obviously, when I'm running the LNG, you do sort of find that in woodland events and stuff, especially when you're sort of defending an area, you are fairly static for quite a lot of time. You're sort of deploying the bipod and getting the gun down. So I often thought the HPA aspect of that would make that quite easy. But you're right. You are going to be firing a lot more shots. You're going to need more air. So yeah, it's an interesting
Also,
thought.
with the bipod as well, something that I learned quite quickly, especially with the airsoft ones where they just dangle around like a pair of saggy balls. Is that's why I've moved over to
Speak for
the
yourself.
that's why I've moved over to the grip pod. Because it's literally it's there. You're holding on to it, and all you need to do is just put it down, and you're there already. And if you do want it stable, there's a little button, and that's it done. Like you can have that deployed in 2 seconds, and literally just start laying down fire. But then also as well, you've got that front support as well, which is why I've moved more over to that than I would do with the bipods, especially on the M249. Plus, they're quite weighted.
Do you run the carry handle on yours?
No, I took that off.
Yeah. See, because that was one of the things I find quite difficult with the GMP Stoner is the fact that it doesn't really have any kind of way of carrying it. So the foregrip, like the push button ones, are quite good because I can actually carry the gun almost vertically just off the foregrip, which is quite nice. And that makes a massive difference because they are heavy, and you do need to find ways of carrying them around the field sometimes. So,
I went with a sling. I just went sling and front grip pod, and you can pretty much do anything. Like when I was shooting Lance, I thought I was only using one arm in the sling.
Actually, let's talk about that quickly because that was quite an epic moment. So, one of the Octo rules for basically being hit in limbs. So, for example, if you get hit in your gun or your arms or your legs or anything like that, is that it effectively disables that. So the number of people that were sort of limping around the field over the weekend. I mean, because I know there were exactly. There were two situations in particular I wanted to discuss. There was the one with the base assault, where we were at the lithium factory, and I believe you had one limb left.
Yeah, I had one hand. I had an arm left, one arm left. So I was a pistol and a grenade in my mouth. I was ready for him.
But the more entertaining one was, I think you had that was the end of the day on Sunday.
Yeah, it was
it was like you and Lance were sort of charging against each other.
Yeah, trading rounds with each other, and then he got me in the arm. So luckily I had that on the sling. So I dropped my arm and just kind of sat it on my chest on my plate carrier. And was running at him still, firing away, and then he got me in the leg. And I've got this M249 waving around with no control, strangling myself because I've wrapped it around my neck, trying to fire at him. And then someone else decided to shoot me in the head from over the other side, and Lance got really upset and just shouted that it took his kill. I was like, thanks.
Oh, it was good. I did enjoy that. There was when we were on the base defense where I was sort of hiding in the bush waiting to take out the enemy leader, older Tim Brown. But unfortunately, I didn't think he was coming in the end, so I started opening fire, and it turns out he was just waiting for the rest of his team to clear the base. And just watching you die, I was like, Andy, no!
Yeah. you jumped cover too soon.
I know.
Too soon. It was
so frustrated about that. So LMGs and support. We'll go. There's a few things about HPAs and stuff like that. I've kept a note, and we'll come back to those. But in terms of the support, so what sort of loadout would you say kind of defines a support role?
Ammo. lots of ammo. So although there was an Octo, although the limit for out on the field was 1,000 BBs in the box mag, I still went through. I think I ended up going about through 3,000 BBs over 2 days, which is a lot in my mind. That's over a bottle and a half. So I do think you need to. It is an expensive one, especially if you start playing around with the rate and fire and things like that. But also as well, I think also as well, what puts a lot of people off is you're not there to get kills. Luckily, I got a few because they just ran at me for some reason. but 99% of games, I barely get any kills. You're there just to keep people's heads down. So I think that's one part of it that you need to understand straight away, that you're not going to get kills. I don't think you will get some, but you won't get many.
Yeah,
you're not there for that. Oh, I've just shot someone in the head, pinpoint. You're there for when they rush up the road and you mow down 20 of them, or you make them all scatter.
And so it's almost like an ambush weapon, really, isn't it? Like, if you're aiming to get kills with it, for the most part, it is resting up. I mean, this is why I sort of like the whole ghillie LMG type role, in that you wait up, you're basically on defense, you wait until everyone gets close enough, and then you just literally open fire and just pray.
The one tactic that I have learned quite quickly was LMG with a sniper. If you compare an LMG and a sniper together, watching a road, it's very hard for people to get past, because they see them first, the sniper with the long boy and the long reach. And as soon as they get into your range, you can start mowing them down and get them to scatter and keep their heads down. But then all it needs is like an arm or a foot out on show that I won't be able to pick out. But matey with the sniper will just go a couple of shots, boom, boom, that person's out, boom, boom, that person's out, and you've slowed down their attack straight away, which is a really good tactic. And especially, like you said, with the LMG and ghillie suit, it does upset people. But it's great fun.
You've actually been asked to pick one or the other, I believe, at an event.
Yes,
I was to name the specific event, but
no. This was just a skirmish day that I was testing out like certain loadouts and certain tactics. And the site owner came up to me and said, well, one of the marshals came up and said, look, you're stopping people from using this whole section. You need to either choose the LMG or the or the ghillie suit. You can't have both. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I've only got the LMG, so I'll stick with that. Because like even the sniper said, like, we couldn't see, like, we heard you, but because you were in such a good position, we didn't know where you were, which was quite enjoyable.
Oh, it is a fun combo, especially at skirmishes. You got like groups. This isn't a good thing. I'm not proud of this, but when you got groups of like youngish kids running around, like, you know, they're just there to have a good day, and then all of a sudden this bush just lights them up. There is a particular sick pleasure in that.
Although I did have a bad moment up at one of the BritTac events up at Camp Sparta. I'm hosing, like literally hosing this doorway to keep them in, because they were pushing through this building. So I was literally hosing the edge of this building. I wasn't even aiming for the opening. I was just aiming for the wall. So they heard the rounds hit it. This poor lad just walked straight about that far. Literally, it was 2 foot in front of the barrel, and just straight in his head.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was wearing like full face and a helmet and everything, and he just went down. I was like, oh shit, I've killed him. I was like, what have I done? I did feel really bad. He was on my team as well, so he knew exactly where I was. I was like, Jesus. I was like, what have I done?
So obviously we've discussed sort of ammo. Is there any other sort of things you feel that a support role needs? I mean, obviously with the mortar. So if you're kind of running a support role from indirect fire, kind of aspect. I mean, I would probably regard, you might disagree, but probably regard tag rounds being more of a rifleman role.
Yeah, I would have said so. Mainly because the launchers are quite small, and you can have them underslung, or you've got those really tight, small, compact ones. Whereas a mortar's got, like, you have to spend time to set it up. So I would class them as different sorts of roles. But and also as well, I think the mortar, sometimes you can get a little bit more range on it. Depending on what
it was your first event with the mortar this weekend, wasn't it?
Yes, my homemade one.
Yeah.
which did rather
Exactly.
well. I thought. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I still owe you all those rounds. So,
No, it's all right. It's all cool. It's all cool.
He went, use some rounds. He came back and there was 2 left. I went, sorry. Carried away a little bit there.
Yeah, I took a full bandolier of the water rounds out. Didn't have many left at the end. But
No.
it's cool. That's why it's there.
So he'll get some back. He'll get some back.
Yeah. What do we think the responsibilities of a support role are?
Oh. Support.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely keeping the enemy's head down, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, that's almost the fundamental. If you're bounding through a forest, or if you get into a position where basically the enemy's advancing on you, if you can sort of keep them down and allow your team to push up or change position or anything like that, then you can quite often get the jump on the enemy.
You're quite a pin in relation to like you're a fixed point, so the rest of your guys can turn or pivot on your position or push from your position, but also as well they can retreat to your position as well because they know where you are. So if they need to fall back, they know that they've got cover for their retreat.
Sorry, Danny is just up. You're there just to fuck shit up and piss people off.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. But also as well, like I when I run with like Chris and the other lads from our group, I tend to carry a lot of them run TM recoils, and so do I. So I tend to have TM recoil mags on me. Like I showed, like when I ran out of ammo when we did that assault, I just took the mags. I took the mags out and used the ammo for myself. But the guys, if we are in a big firefight, I've got extra ammo for them. So I think you are there as basically a supply carrier as well. But you're quite a fixed position.
You're the mothership.
Yeah. I'm a ship. More like a Titanic over the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Fresh Meat just said, even though it's only BB wars, there's still a fear factor when people see one or more LMGs on the other side to them.
Yeah.
Definitely there is. I mean, I'd say going back to the noise of Brad's 249, when it was just it was fairly imposing. I mean, I knew it was on our side, and I say there was that warm fuzzy feeling of just go, oh yeah, that's cool. We've got that cover.
If you don't know what it sounds like, there's a YouTube video, and literally just type in M249 Daytona, and there's this youngish lad in a warehouse. So obviously it's quite echoey there as well, but he just fires off a couple of rounds, and you think, oh, yeah, I'd buy that. Yeah. So if you do it after this, because obviously I'm on.
Yeah, don't do it now.
But yeah, but do it after. Do it after this, and just have a little Google on YouTube, and it's well worth listening to. Volume up high, I say.
So what would you say the pros and cons? Let's go cons first, because I think between the two of us, we're probably going to come up with a ton of pros.
Yeah, there's quite cons. Snipers in your face. If you're an LMG gunner, I would say 80% of the time you're lying down, and the only target that anyone has is your face. So if you're firing, your face gets hit a lot. So if you don't like it, don't buy an LMG, because you are going to get shot in the face. But that's why I've started buying a mouth guard, because the amount of shots, like my nose has got 3 hits on it from last weekend, and they're really sore.
See,
I'd say that's definitely a con.
I had a bit of a close call this weekend. I wasn't going to specifically bring this up, but I actually took one round to the tooth. Now, so I generally wasn't. I don't, unless it's particularly CQB. I don't generally tend to wear face pro. If I do, I've got like a one Tigris, half mesh, half like soft panel mask. And I have been looking at sort of alternative options and stuff like that. But I tend to sort of try and keep my head as free from stuff as possible, just because I am a sweaty bastard. And the cooler I can be on my head, the better the iPro survives. But there was one little round that just literally came in, and I was smiling. I think I was talking to you at the time, and I was smiling. Literally came in and just caught me on the tooth. Now, it didn't do any damage or anything like that. It was the equivalent of just like a little flick. But there was just enough there that I was like, "Ooh."
It does make you think, doesn't it?
I might need to start considering something here. So yeah, there is definitely shots to the face. I mean, I wasn't lying down specifically on that one. But yeah,
No.
especially when you're around a corner or something like that, you're sort of laying on the ground. Because it's not like you can move quickly either. You're sort of fixed and set up. You generally tend to be quite static. So obviously, people know where you are and things. So,
but also you tend to be the first target as well.
Yeah.
In an ambush, everyone goes, "Oh yeah, look, you two make sure that the guy with the LMG gets deaded quick." Because if you're setting up an ambush, the last thing you want is one of them turning around and lighting up the bush that you're in, because that you lose your advantage then. So it tends to be medic and the LMG tends to get hit first, and then everyone else can just get picked off. So you do become a bit of a BB magnet. So, yeah. If you're if you enjoy pain.
I was going to say, I mean, on the pain front, obviously you do generally have a lot more weight to carry around as well. So you can get the featherweight sort of systems like the S&T 249, which I think weighs around sort of 4 kilos. I mean, on the basis you're running around with 5 times that, it's quite a substantial load.
Yeah, there's a lot of new ones coming out. Like the lightest one on the market is the Stoner. The new Aries Stoner is pistol weight. It is, but then again, for me, it's plastic body and everything, so it all depends on. I throw that thing around. Like if I'm running around and I get down, that thing gets thrown on the floor. It's more of an anchor. So if I want to lie down, I throw that on the floor and it takes me with it. So you get down quick. But yeah, it all depends on what sort of fitness level you're at, what sort of, and how you're going to treat the weapon as well, I think. Because like I've taken out all the screws and I've riveted everything in that, so it makes it a little bit stronger. Because I abuse it. Like, I love it to pieces, but she don't get chucked about. So I've lost my train of thought now. It's gone.
I was just enjoying the fact that you're sort of saying you're chucking the LMG about, and then Danny's coming and saying the LMG is like carrying a toddler. So let's hope you not chuck the toddlers about, because that's obviously not a good comparison.
This is why she said that I can't have kids. Because, oh yeah, that'll do.
No, but you're right. There is a lot of weight, and to me, the plastic versions of things. I mean, let's say I've got the S&T 249, and I bought that because whilst the appeal of having like the full metal, like it feels really nice and chunky and solid when you pick it up, and you're like, oh yeah, this is sick. 2 hours of running around with that on a patrol. Like, don't get me wrong, I know I'm not the fittest of people, and that is something I want to work on. But I feel I want to work on it on my own pace, not, I feel I would get very ratty with someone if I've lugged 22 kilograms from like point A to point B and then being told that no, the objective's been cancelled, go back to point A again.
That's the trouble with that though, because you kind of get to you're sent all that way, and they're like, right, and you get halfway there, and they're like, if you get engaged, just pull back, and you're just like, well, I could have left that at home, and I could take the M4 up.
Run around with a pistol at that point.
Yeah, run around. Yeah.
Fresh Meat says if you have a good sling, you can carry it a lot easier. Yeah, completely agree. I mean, it's important, I would say, to make sure you know the kind of easiest way of carrying the guns about. So, for example, again with the Stoner, it's the one I've probably got the most experience with. There are sort of certain places that you can carry it that make it a lot easier. I know. I was quite, as soon as I got the 249, I was like, I love the carry handle. And I know it's not really designed for carrying the whole system about. I don't think it's more designed for the barrels and stuff like that. But it does make life a lot easier.
Yeah,
to the point of I've genuinely debated buying a carry handle attachment for the stone.
You can have my one. It's knocking around somewhere. It's a bit bent because obviously the airsoft version is not made for that sort of weight. It's a bit of a U shape at the moment, like that. Where I've just been. Oh right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Chris says, "How come I can only see half the people chatting? I've got YouTube open to see the others." Yeah. So Chris, if you're watching on Facebook. You can obviously only see Facebook chats. If you're on YouTube, you see YouTube chats. We get everything on here. That's why I can sort of pull up either side as we go through. So,
and that's why when I'm on the other side, I have both up, which you don't like.
It gets confusing because I couldn't work out who Andy Bob and Andy Luckett were. They seem to be having the same chat. I think you were actually talking to each other on there at one point.
Yeah, I was chatting to myself just to confuse you for a little while.
Harry says, Mike, I was impressed with your sprint from the Polaris to the tree line. You was a quick lad. With trouser braces, though. Recommend trouser braces, though. Yeah, my belt. I've got to work my belt out. So I run the Warrior Gunfighter belt. I think it's I know we sort of discussed belts a little bit last week, and I fully. It was quite funny. I was running along, and I got this whacking great chunky belt flying around. Harkened back to the comment Ray said that it was quite a chunky belt when I was recommending it, and it is, and it ended up around my arse a few times, so I definitely need to get a little harness on there.
Yeah, especially when I was following you through the woods and you jumped over that, I was like, oh, there we go. Mike, your belt slips again. Oh yeah.
It was hanging under my arse at one point. Though. Oh, terrific! But yeah, I mean, you do. I wouldn't say I was a quick lad, but I'll give it a go. Thanks, Harry. You made me blush. So, what are the pros then? Come on, pros of being a support gunner.
Fun.
It is fun.
It is fun. You can't deny being able to, especially at events where you're given the advantage, which is what you're meant to have. Like Octo, where you're the only one that's allowed for an auto. You got people blinking at you at a single shot, and you just light them up. You just watch their heads. The mortar was good fun as well when they were sitting there all having their cup of coffees and stuff around the lithium plant, and then we light up with 3 LMGs, a sniper, and a mortar, and you just see them run like you turn the lights on like ants. Yes. It's satisfying. It's definitely satisfying. Fitness as well. It does build up your fitness a lot, especially if you play it regularly. If you play that role every couple of weeks and stuff, your fitness does build up quite quickly.
Yeah, I find especially. I mean, I went through a period of using airsoft as like primary exercise, and it definitely is a case if you push yourself and you not necessarily run yourself as a rifleman role with an LMG, but it just kind of like put that extra effort in just to try and get from A to B quicker. Yeah. It does make a difference. And do you find there's that little sense of power?
Yeah.
When you're pulling the trigger, it's like you just got like they're all going out.
Like last weekend was amazing because they made me team leader and I had the LMG. I was like all the power. I was like, right, you just stay there. Well,
I got told off at one point because you'd come over, so I knew you were like the Alpha one. And you come over and go, right, Mike, you're with me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Command structures told me to follow him, so I'm following him. So, yeah. And then I think Bravo 1 called in and said, Mike, where are you going? It's like, I was told to follow Alpha 1.
Yeah. But that was the plan. Like, the 3 LMGs go off and make some noise somewhere else while the rest of them go and do their sneaky, boring stuff. I was like, off you pop. Go on. You've given me control of this. He's mine. Yeah. But that is something. And also as well, I do think there's a weird, how do you describe it? There's a weird bond between LMG users because you know that other person's an idiot as well for choosing to lug all this crap about. So there is that weird bond because like the lad that was running the M249 on the PMC group, I was bleeding out on my many occasions. He came over and sat with me, and we literally just talked M249s for about 5 minutes while I was bleeding out. Nothing gameplay related at all. We just sat there and had a chat. So I think there is that, and we have our own dedicated Facebook page as well. Can't really argue with that.
Like is that, as Danny says, idiots stick together?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. How do you think this got so well?
So what would you say is your favourite story of being a support role? Yeah.
There's too many, to be honest. There's a lot. Although the one thing that I enjoy most of all is working on them and getting them to the point where I'm happy. Like this one is my third one that I've had now. I've killed one, depressingly sold one, and then this is my third. And it's just building it up and learning from what. That's the thing that I most enjoy about LMGs. Everyone, and it's weird because they're getting more and more parts now. Now they seem to be getting, ever since TM brought out their one, there seems to be a weird incline in people wanting to own some sort of support weapon. So more things are coming out from now. That's my main enjoyable story. I told you the other one about lighting up a kid at close range, but
yeah.
And the ghillie suit.
I told you that was my favourite one as well.
Yeah. It's like what Danny said, pissing people off.
Yeah.
Like it is part of parcel with it. You have the power, so why not use it?
Yeah. Do you think there's sort of a growing? Do you feel that there's maybe a growing trend of support roles or like LMG users within the skirmish community, which is maybe driving more interest as well? Because I mean, Crytek obviously brought out their sort of LMG version, which I think for a lot of sites, I know there's a lot of event companies that have kind of turned around and gone, it's effectively an M4 with a box mag, so we're not going to accept it as an LMG.
Yeah. So
do you think there's maybe more interest?
The Crytek one's an interesting one because I've had one as well, and it is a good weapon, and it is based off a civilian weapon, which is a M4 with a M249 top cover. So the whole thing is that the box mag fits into the M4 lower as its holder, but then all your rounds are in the box mag that's still fed through the top. It's a civilian weapon. So it's never seen military use, but it is an LMG, but they've just used what's available. Is basically a weird mishmash between an M4 and an M249. So it is a real weapon. So I can understand why people say, well, it is an LMG, but it's not a military active one. I would probably allow it as a PMC weapon maybe, or like an Op4 one, but you wouldn't have it as Blue 4 at all. And it made it more popular, but I think the one that's really sparked everyone's interest is the TM one with the recoil system. I think that's really lit a fire under the support. Under the support community, I think, because to me it's a lovely weapon. It is good fun, but it is overpriced for what it is. It's a support weapon. You're never going to get good range. You're never going to get like this thing. This thing keeps up with it, but they are good. They are good fun, and I think that's what's brought people more along. But you're never going to knock the you're never going to knock an M4 off the top platform.
No, well, I mean, for the sake of argument, if you're comparing all airsoft against all airsoft, ultimately, if you can run around with an M4 with a box mag on full auto, where you've revved up the rate of fire and stuff like that, then the LMG in that aspect just becomes a detriment. You've just got a load of extra weight for no reason. If that's what you're up against, it's you can run around. It's pistol weight, as you say. You just can't outstrip it. But as soon as you're given that advantage in terms of the weight detriment is offset by the fact you're the only one with the full auto fire. You've got a much higher round count and stuff like that. It does make a massive difference.
Yeah.
Do you think that? So obviously, with a rifleman carrying 600 rounds, kind of as a typical, and then an LMG with, say, we'll call it 2.5. Do you think that's a fair comparison for that? Because obviously LMGs would generally tend to fire more ammo. Do you think maybe LMG gunners should have more ammo on them, or do you think that's the kind of a fair split?
I think that's quite a good, because 600 rounds compared to, say, 2,000, because that box mag will hold 2,000, and I don't have to reload. Whereas if you've got, say, one of the PTS mags, which is, I think, 64 rounds, is it on it? No, I'm not sure. But say you've got, I don't know, 100 rounds in your magazine. You fired your 100 rounds at me. I've still got, and I fired 100 rounds at you. I don't have to reload for another 1,900 rounds. Whereas you've got to stop then, and you've still got rounds coming in, which makes you panic. Yeah. So I do think there is an advantage to having, and especially
that it's a fair return of fire though, because I mean I know I've found it before that where you're providing that sort of cover fire, they might pop up and give you sort of 2 or 3 rounds, and your response is like a 30, not a 30-second burst, but like a 3-second burst, which might be like 30-40 rounds.
Yes. Yeah. In real life, they'd keep firing. That'd keep firing until your movement element got into position. Right. So if you're going to look at it as a transferring, say, a real life situation into airsoft, then this does need to have the advantage, because otherwise, because a lot of weapons now will outrange that. But you're just creating noise and dropping rounds on them just to keep their heads down. And I do think you need that advantage because you haven't got the accuracy.
I'm ruffling a few feathers here. I'm up to 8. Just skipped in and said you have to remember that a rifleman with 600 rounds needs 10 mags, whereas the LMG gunner has 1,000 round in one box mag. Completely agree. Yeah. I'm just sparking debate for the sake of debate's sake, to be honest. I don't have a problem with the rounds as they stand.
But it's like as I said, like the way Octo do it, I think it's cracking, because although they've got 600 rounds, like the riflemen have got 600 rounds, I've got 1,000 rounds. But like they said, I've got 1,000 rounds in one box mag. So, and I can full auto. So that's where the advantage of lugging around a fat Bertha all weekend with 1,000 rounds in it each time does outweigh them having 600 rounds with slightly better accuracy. So it keeps it fair, but does give that the slight advantage is what you would do in real life, because you're there just to, you do need a bit of accuracy, but your accuracy is by volume.
I mean, like, the real world equivalent as well, you're not going to be running around with thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition as a support gunner, because you'd be dead. Basically, it's way too much weight. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I was just interesting debate question. So
Les needs to go and have a look at my
tracer is a nuts.
He needs to go on my Instagram account and look at that video of me running it with that night vision. You'll enjoy that, Les. I'll drop you a link on the other chat.
That almost sounded a bit flirtatious.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? He gave me another tip. I gave him my PayPal details earlier. He just gave me another tip. So,
I've been sort of collecting comments throughout the evening, so I'll just run through a few of those. Paulus Wales, I think the limited mags and lack of full auto for riflemen really incentivizes carrying an LMG due to the extra ammo and full auto. Completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Charlie says the rifleman role can majorly change depending on the type of MilSim you're attending. Urban, a rifleman will primarily be doing strike ops and patrols, whereas rural it will be a lot more slow-paced and reconnaissance-based. So yeah, that's an interesting take on that.
Yeah, because like compared to Octo and Camp Sparta, Battle Lakes and Camp Sparta, the way you play is totally different. Like Camp Sparta, you are literally going into every single building, you're sweeping everything, and you're running through as a rifleman. Whereas Battle Lakes, you're taking your time because you know that as soon as you get seen, you're going to get lit up. So it is a massive, like there is a massive diversity for riflemen. Whereas an LMG is just lie down and shoot people or shoot at people. Like, your game style doesn't change much.
I find it's very rare you get asked to carry extra stuff as well. That's always, oh, can you carry this for me? Oh no, you've already got a big gun. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Ray said there was a HPA sniper at Legion at the weekend, which was ridiculously quiet. So I do think, because this is when we were talking about the HPA systems and stuff like that, I do think HPA is quite cool. I get that there's a whole bit of like hose attached and stuff like that. But the number of quiet systems that I've seen that run HPA and the like, there is something a little bit special about them.
But then again, would you want
this guy's AK was just freaking phenomenal. It really was. It was like one of the. It was almost like firing a laser beam. Like there was no recoil on the system at all. It felt, and yet it just rounds literally just flying off out of it. Like, it's mad. He also said HPA Cypher is not worth it on our limits. 2.3 joules. It's more for consistency and quietness, apparently.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, as I said, it's not something that I've personally ever looked into, like HPAs, because I've borrowed other people's and just haven't got on with it, really.
Yeah.
I just find it's too much. Just get myself in knots. Walk out like this. It's all tied up in the hose. Help! I need an adult.
Free me!
Yeah.
Fresh meat. My mate has his 249 HPA and the rate of fire is insane. He's a large tank and you can see the gauge dropping as he's firing. He lasted 20 minutes last time it was taken out. Yeah, that's an interesting. I mean, if you've got a massive tank and you have to keep replacing the tank and stuff like that, that's obviously quite a detriment, especially for some of the longer MilSims or whatever. Like, it's sort of you're out and about, maybe sort of 2 or 3 hours. You don't want to be having to go back to just replace the tank each time. So.
Yeah, because that's what Brad had. Brad had that problem because he was running a small tank. When he did a good rate of fire and a constant rate of fire, he ran out of gas. He ran out of air before he ran out of ammo. I did, but then again, that might have been his regulator that I did say to him, because I wouldn't have thought you should easily go for 1,000 rounds. I would have thought on one tank, but.
Paul as Wales, an LMG paired with a sniper rifle prevents snipers getting rushed.
Yeah, definitely.
Good little tactic. Fresh meat, he absolutely loves a mortar. Mortars, you say?
Yeah.
I do need to have a chat with Fresh meat at some point because he's doing some very interesting bits of research with mortars and stuff like that, and sort of various flared bases. And whilst mine was good at the weekend, I must admit, Andy, I was a little bit jealous of yours. For some reason, I think it is just due to the size of it. You were getting much better range on yours. So,
always is. It's the length.
Yeah.
The girth's the same, but the length's.
It's all about the length.
Yeah.
So Wayne, be prepared for some chat at some point because
yes, definitely.
We need to speak.
Yeah, I want more info about these base plates as well.
Yeah, no, it's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Danny, you're there just to fuck shit up and piss people off.
Yeah. In life or in airsoft? I'm confused on that comment.
Well, knowing Danny, it's probably a bit of A and a bit of B.
Yeah.
But, Freshman also said snuck up on a player on Saturday and put a short burst into the back of his plate. He started having a go as there was no need to shoot him more than once. Turned around and saw the LMG and his face sank.
Yeah, that's the trouble. That's one of the cons as well. Like, not for you, but for this, I've got no single shot.
See, that is one of the things I like on the GMP. So where, you know, for example, using Legion as an example, it's a single fire in buildings. I do have the selector, so I can pick to go semi-auto if I want to, and it means that it effectively just turns it into a rifle with a box mag, and then you can clear buildings with it, and then as soon as you're in a position where you can fire out the building, you can switch it back to the full auto.
Which is a massive advantage, because whereas I have to stop using that completely, and I have to go to my sidearm, and you lose the advantage then. Whereas you being able to just flick it straight onto single shot or full auto gives you a massive advantage compared to that.
Although the length of it's a bit of a pain, especially if you've got to crawl through like murder holes or anything like that. It's a bit of a. It's like, oh right, hang on.
Yeah, that's why she normally just gets launched through the hole first, and I'm just crawling off.
In terms of realism, Octo8 said LMGs also have hot barrels.
Yes.
So you wouldn't fire continuously. And I agree with this last point as well, which was massive. It's also good to hear short bursts at the weekend, which is good role play. So yeah, that's cool.
Plus, I can't do that because I break pistons if I do that. If I fire constantly, I'll blow up pistons. I've gone through 4 with that now.
Oh, blimey!
On the build, like on the build process, I blew up 4 pistons. So now I'm a little bit.
What sort of piston works well have you found?
The one that I've got at the moment is a old, forgotten the make, but it's half metal, half plastic. So in the middle where it gets more stress, it's got metal teeth, and then at the 2 ends where there's not that much stress on it, it's gone to plastic. And this one seems to have lasted quite well. But also as well, I've changed the gears and stuff, so I don't know which one's sorted it out. Like, I don't know if it's the gears with the piston or if it's just the piston change. So
yeah, cool.
I have to see. I'll tell you when the next piston blows up. I'll tell you when it blows up.
Regardless says, Andy, if you're on the next Octo8, we can talk and shoot my weight and weigh stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Yeah, I'd love to have a look at, especially the HPA sniper and things like that. And that AK. If you're going on about the AK, I want to try.
Honestly, it was. I think he gave it to me to fire, and he was like, "I have a go at that." I was like, and it was that classic. You look back and go, ooh.
Oh yeah, one of the ones where you get a tingle. Ooh.
Yeah, definitely a tingle riff. Ray says the problem with HPA is you look like a Ghostbuster.
Well, maybe that's the look that you're going for.
Yeah.
If you could make one of the little Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
That's again,
ideal for those Ghostbuster MilSims.
Yeah. Although I've been really tempted to make, the ammo packs. The one that Matey was running in Predator, the big square ammo box. I've been wanting. Every time I see one, I go, "Shall I make one for this?" And just have this beast of a unit just walking around. I
feel that's going to be attached to a minigun, though, doesn't it?
No. I'll put a picture up. It attached to an M249 is hilariously good looking.
We'll do the last few comments. Harry says at some point I'm going to be working on a Mancraft CO2 kit in the buttstock of a sniper. So it'd be like a whisper. Yeah, I've heard quite good things about the old Mancraft. I mean, I don't know much about snipers myself, to be fair, because just haven't done a lot with them. I own one, but it's still stock. Never touched.
You got to have patience for a sniper, I think, which I don't have.
I feel I've got the patience for a sniper. I don't have the patience for building it. Like, it's sort of, to me, like a lot of the sniper builds, it sort of seems to be, very intense in terms of like getting your gun like nicely like tailored and stuff like that, sort of all the tweaks and stuff like that. Whereas I'm kind of more like, I just want to get out in the field, hide in the bush, and then shoot people.
Yeah. I just want to pop up and surprise people. Hello.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I don't need to go to Airsoft to do. I could just go hit the park. But
I could just see you now. Just
surprise.
Yeah.
Pegasus says, "I hate being tied to something with a HPA." So
yeah, same as me, mate. Yeah.
Regardless, oh sorry, mate. I know I'm butchering your name. What about MOSFET and Bluetooth? That for you would work do the trick to turn semi in buildings and later to full auto outside.
Yeah, but then you still have to stop. You're still you're taking out your phone. You're loading up the program. You're waiting for it to change. By the time I've done that, I've got my pistol out and I'm already halfway through the building. I only really use my pistol when I'm in a building. If I'm outside, if someone's got within the minimum engagement distance of that anyway, something's gone wrong. If you know what I mean. Like my rifle guys, my sniper, my leader, me have all done something wrong. If they've got within that MED, then yeah, something's happened and something's gone wrong. So I'm probably dead anyway. So, but yeah, I have looked at the Bluetooth MOSFETs and things like that for this, but it's got an electronic trigger anyway. So the only reason that I would have a MOSFET would be to save it if an 11 LiPo decided to overpower itself and try and screw up the gearboxes, which it can't do because it's got to go through the electric trigger system anyway. So MOSFET's not something that I would really look at putting into one of these. But it's a good idea. It is something, especially if you've got the time to do it.
Fresh Meat says he has a full Airsoft Pro G box in his. I don't know what that means. Sounds good. Any ideas?
No. G box. I thought that was something else.
Oh, gearbox. Full Airsoft Pro
yeah.
gearbox.
There we go.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, they are good. Another gearbox. Yeah, another gearbox is Ball Gear. And if you've bought an LMG, I am going to plug them because they are the best LMG company manufacturer in the world. Is Ball Gear. Like I've got their box mag and their hop unit in that, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They're expensive, but nothing that I've bought so far has kept up with it.
And if you spend a weekend with Andy, that will be the 900th time that he's mentioned.
Oh, I to be honest, I'm surprised I'm not. I'm like him with Swish.
Talking of which, haven't you? I think you've got a little bit that's been in the whole episode that I don't think anyone's commented on yet.
Where is it? What? Kept it as a little treat, but no one's noticed. Yeah. The trouble is when you've got this in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But just to prove it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you actually try it?
This is my third one that you've given me now.
Oh, cool.
I haven't paid for a single one. I've had more Swish from you than I have anything else.
Harry Badger Tricky Happy Me is working on a 4-tube 38mm. Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
I love
Where's Harry?
Weird yeah. And last comment, regardless, it's getting worse. Regardless, there's a Russian company where making hop-ups, gears, etc. for M249 called Combat Union. Worth a shout?
Yes. A look? Combat Union are a sub-company of Ball Gear.
Ah, there you go.
From what I understand. I think they're the same. I think it was either the same bloke and someone's walked off and taken his design. But I think they're like that, I think. But it's them and Ball Gear, which is basically the same.
Cool.
Russians love their M249s more than M4s. They really do.
Oh, nice.
But then again, don't forget that it's not just M249s. It's PKMs. It's.
Sorry, Fresh Meat said, "Are you a Ball Gear rep?"
I should be bloody. I should be sponsored by them by now. The amount of times that I've plugged it, I must have sold more box mags for them than any other person about.
Well, Andy, thanks ever so much for coming on the show, mate. It's been a real pleasure to have you.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back next week.
Yep, Lance obviously was upset that he couldn't make it as well. So, but yeah, feel free to abuse him next week. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so. Email as nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo. Facebook is @November Foxtrot NoFo. YouTube is youtube.com/C/November Foxtrot. And you can always catch us on our website, which has the contact section, which is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. If you've got any questions for Andy, how can people find you?
Instagram, which is _quartermaster, just to make things nice and small. So you've got to type that out. Go on quickly, Mike. But also Facebook as well. Just drop me a message on that. I'm not on Twitter.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
You spelled it wrong.
Oh no! Hang on.
I'm not on Twitter or anything like that. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram is the best places to get me. Hey, there we go.
There you go. Hi Ed, thanks for joining us.
Also as well, yeah. But also as well, like we've got the community chat which has opened up as well.
I say because you actually run our little community Facebook page as well, don't you?
Yeah. So if you've got any questions, you can. Yeah, inadvertently. That was. If you haven't watched that episode, you need to. Which I don't even know what episode that was. But that yeah. But yeah, if you're new, there is a community chat for it all, so you can just carry on slagging me off.
Yeah. Last question comes from Danny. Are you going to Longmoor?
I wish it was. Yeah. It was a bit too much for me to pay out so close after Christmas. So unfortunately, I will miss this one, but I will be doing 100% doing the next one, unless you want to sneak me in somehow.
Silly good. He said Lance has a new house. I see.
No, I'm just a Chinese knockoff. Don't worry. I'm the cheaper version.
Oh, right. Next week, Lance will be back. We're hoping to do an episode on, it'll be an Octavate debrief, more from sort of like Lance and I being on different sides of the coin. We're going to be doing a armory episode. So we're going to be talking about the various riffs that we have, which will be interesting because we can't touch any of them. So there'll be lots of photos.
I'm just doing like this, posing in front of them.
Just be lots of pointing. So there'll be photos and stuff like that. We'll be talking about sort of various airsoft platforms and the like that we run. So yeah, a proper little hardcore airsoft episode. But Andy, thanks again for joining us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah. And it was great fun running with you at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do it again, definitely.
So without any further ado, Andy, say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Tune in next week.
We'll see you all next week. Have a good one.